This is the Bold Prediction Show, a special from Player Profiler with myself and Theo, the masters of our domain on Player Profiler. And we have 10 bold predictions for the NFL draft, for the NFL season. What do we have cooking, Theo? Let's start sizzling.
Rookie guide just launched. It's getting real. NFL draft is a little over 1 month away. Our rookie draft just launched right here at Player Profiler. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's the first thing listed in the show description. And if you're listening to this on a podcast, just go to playerprofiler.com and you'll be able to find it. We'll put it several places, but get my rankings, get Cody Carpentier's rankings, Jagger May's rankings, Jax Falcone's rankings, and John Lobb's rankings, all of the player write-ups. We're giving you rankings in multiple formats. You've got my rookie draft guide, ways to win your rookie draft. A lot of cool stuff there. It's stunning, Matt. Stunning visually.
Every year it gets better and better and better and better. I have some nuggets in there as well. Kick us off. Bold prediction number 10. We'll count it down 10-1.
Oh, we're going backwards. I got to change. Okay, fine. Here we go. You're talking today about a lot of players who are entering year 2, Matt. All of my takes are NFL draft related, except for this one. This is the year where Malik Nabers goes absolutely nuts. Over the past 4 seasons, we've seen the wide receiver 1 overall finish with the most targets and the most catches in the NFL. Last year, Jamar Chase had the Triple Crown. Year before, CeeDee Lamb goes absolutely nuts. Year before that, Justin Jefferson. Year before that, Cooper Kupp. So we've been on a track where elite target earners get that wide receiver 1 overall ceiling. Malik Nabers now will benefit from having Jameis Winston as his quarterback. Jameis was signed to a very team-friendly deal, but I think New York is going to go into the season with him as their starting quarterback. They are going to get boxed out from Cam Ward and Shadur Sanders. Those 2 players are going to go 1-2 overall. New York is going to select Travis Hunter at 3, use him on both sides of the ball, freeing up Malik Nabers for even more targets, and NFL defenses are not going to be able to completely focus their attention on him with Travis Hunter getting 90 targets, Matt? Can we say 90 targets on that team?
Not
Something
even.
exciting for 80 targets. 80 targets.
Yeah, not even.
The
bottom line is the targets are going to Malik Nabers. Jameis Winston with Malik Nabers on this team, a team that's not going to be able to run the ball, a team that's going to be playing from behind with Jameis Winston, with no one behind him. Jameis Winston just able to YOLO all day long. What, 180 targets for Malik Nabers?
200 is on the table for a player for this magnitude. We've only seen it 4 times in NFL history. You've had 4 200 target earners. I think Malik Nabers could get close to it. Like you said, 180 plus. And
it's
that's
a bold
be
prediction show. Just say it. This is bold.
200. Let's go 200. And let's go even bolder. Shout out to the LSU Tigers audience. We've got a huge LSU Tigers audience that watches Player Profile or listens to our podcast. You're going to have the top 4 wide receivers in fantasy next year are all going to be LSU Tigers. Malik Nabers, wide receiver 1. Jamar Chase, wide receiver 2. BTJ, Brian Thomas Jr., wide receiver 3. And Justin Jefferson, wide receiver 4. 4 LSU Tigers at the top of the wide receiver standings in PPR leagues with Malik Nabers as the wide receiver 1. Matt, that's super bold. What is your first bold take of today's show?
By the way, Nabers and Brian Thomas both going at the 1-2 turn in the fast draft flex 4 game. 1-2 turn for Malik Nabers and Brian Thomas, and fellow LSU receiver was the first pick for the championship flex 4 team last year. So the team that drafted Jamar Chase in the first round, they went Jamar Chase, Saquon Barkley. That was the winning formula in the first 2 rounds in last year's flex 4 game. And if you're at that 1-2 turn, if you get pick 9, pick 10, Brian Thomas, Malik Nabers, Brian Thomas, those are very much in play. My bold prediction. Woo! Last night, I narrowed it down to 10. I knew I had to bring 5 to the table. I got it down to 10, and I put it on Twitter at @fantasy_mansion on Twitter X. And I set up a thread. I said, hey, everybody, I got a show with Theo tomorrow. We're recording a video, our bold predictions for the offseason and the draft and the upcoming season. Here's what I got, right? Stream of consciousness. And I let the likes decide. We crowdsourced it, right? So I was thinking Christian McCaffrey does not finish the season because of lower body injuries and never plays football again. That got the fewest likes. So no one wants to hear that. That was not a bold prediction that was chosen for the show. However, for some reason, the next one did get twice as many likes. And that is that Tua Tagovailoa gets hurt early. The Dolphins finish last in the AFC. In the process, Tyreek Hill quits on the team at the halfway point. But all of this is to say that by the time December rolls around, this team is constantly in comeback mode, and they have one receiver left on the depth chart that can make any plays. And Jaylen Waddle, of all receivers, Jaylen Waddle makes his big resurgence in the month of December. He's a top 5 fantasy receiver that month and wins you all the money in best ball.
Jaylen Waddle bounce back, a Jaylen Waddle comeback. Matt, last year could have been viewed as an aberration season for him. A lot of things went poorly in Miami, including Tua missing a lot of time. This has been sort of the Jaylen Waddle narrative now. As soon as Tyreek Hill was on the team, it's when Tyreek Hill goes away, Jaylen Waddle is 4 or 5 years younger. Now you'd actually see it come into fruition. Malik Washington as the wide receiver too. Nick Westbrook-Akine as the wide receiver too. There's not a whole lot there. Even with Jonnu Smith and Devon Achane seeing their targets, it's not hard to envision a Waddle bounce back if your scenario of Tyreek Hill quitting the Miami Dolphins comes into fruition. For me, my next prediction is also slightly Dolphins-based, but mostly it's tight end based, where we saw this offseason the LA Rams make a big move to acquire Davante Adams. We both think Davante is going to do very well there. We talked about that on the Sonic Truth podcast. But I'll take it a step further. LA last year apparently tried to maneuver up and get Brock Bowers. They were turned down, but apparently they rated him very highly and wanted to get him on their team. So I think getting an elite tight end, getting an upgraded tight end is something this front office looked into last year. And I think this year, with the defensive additions they made last year and a lot of those rookies developing and being meaningful players for them throughout the season, they're going to feel less inclined to go defense. And this year, I think they'll go back to the offensive side of the ball. They're going to make a trade up with the Miami Dolphins, move to 13 overall, and they're going to draft Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren will be a Los Angeles Ram. And one pick later, the Indianapolis Colts will select Colston Loveland. You'll have 2 tight ends off the board at 13 and 14. 2 top 15 tight ends, Matt. A historical day for fantasy football at the tight end position. We have Colston Loveland and Tyler Warren both ranked very, very highly, especially in our tight end premium scoring at our rookie guide. But we also have both of those guys very highly ranked in our dynasty rankings without even knowing their landing spots. We are big on these 2 players, and the NFL will agree with Player Profiler and make these guys top 15 selections. Warren to the Rams, Loveland to the Indianapolis Colts.
I love it because this year it's all about Adams. It's all about Adams was the signing. It was my number 1 most impactful signing of all of NFL free agency. I did a whole video on it on the channel, and I explain why. Tyler Warren's going to take a year to become a top receiver. It's not going to be a Bowers situation. We know that, right? It'll take him at least a year. And in that year, Adams will go nuts. But I love this talent configuration with the Rams where they have this aging Davante Adams, they have Puka in his prime, and you have Tyler Warren, the superstar tight end, coming up. And just those 3 as the target options. No third receiver of consequence. None of the running backs on this team are big target earners. So I love the consolidated target distribution, especially when those are hyper-talented players. And when I posted my ideas for bold predictions to Twitter, again, at fantasy_mansion, I had Kyron Williams breaks his foot in week 1, and Blake Corum is a top 10 fantasy back just because of all the teams. This is a very safe backfield. I don't see the Rams investing a day 1 or day 2 pick at the running back position. It's this team. It's the Buccaneers. There's a couple teams where you can't imagine them drafting a running back. So the idea that Kyron Williams, who was overworked for a small back last year, would go down early this year, I think makes perfect sense. Blake Corum was a total bell cow back at Michigan. All-purpose stud, can do it all. Caught 20-plus passes in a season, had over 15 touchdowns in another season, had over 15 rushing yards in another season. So that was going to be the take, but the people on Twitter X did not upvote this. They did not like it. Instead,
you crowdsourced it, Matt. You crowdsourced it. You want to crowdsource it.
Well, the crowd has spoken. They want me to give you this. Ricky Pearsall will be the new number 1 receiver, the alpha, in San Francisco, breaking out all over the place next year. And he will outproduce a healthy Marvin Harrison Jr. in the NFC West from that 2024 draft class. We've got multiple receivers yet to break out. That 2024 draft class is better than you even saw last year. And what we saw last year was incredibly impressive. We're going to add a couple more receivers to the list of breakouts from that class. Ricky Pearsall is going to lead that group. And it's not going to be Ayuk. He could be traded. He's coming back from injury. You look at Ricky Pearsall's athleticism. It is impressive. We're talking about running a 4.4 with 98th percentile burst and 97th percentile agility at Florida. This guy has superstar in this particular system where you have Pearsall, you have Kittle, you have Ayuk. Again, it's a consolidated target distribution there. They don't really have a third receiver. I know Jawan Jennings is there, but it could be down to just Jawan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall without Brandon Ayuk. Again, Brandon Ayuk could easily be traded, could easily just not be healthy to start the season, and then Ricky Pearsall drives a truck through the opportunity that has been opened up in this San Francisco offense. He's just a much more talented player than Jawan Jennings, and I think that the playmaking ability is going to win the day. And this is just another big breakout from that draft class.
Yeah, and I think I like Jawan Jennings more than you do for next year, but I think you nailed it when you said how consolidated this is going to be. And I think even if Jennings has a repeat of his target share of his air yards, Brock Purdy seems to like Jennings. When it comes to Pearsall, with Deebo Samuel now in Washington, they're different. Like, Deebo Samuel led the NFL in rush attempts at the wide receiver position multiple seasons. He was also very effective in the screen game. I think Pearsall not only offers you the downfield play, the yak ability, the elite athleticism is the reason that they really pushed him into the first round in last year's draft, but I think you're going to see Pearsall become the manufactured touch guy. So the way that they would get Samuel a number of touches around the line of scrimmage, I think they're also going to find creative ways to get Ricky Pearsall the ball on manufactured rushing plays, also on plays close to the line of scrimmage to utilize his athleticism and emulate a little bit of the physicality and explosiveness and yak ability that they had with Deebo on top of what he can do downfield. So I agree with you. I think Pearsall looks like a breakout candidate. I think Jennings and Pearsall right now are both good values. And I think the market will come together on this one. You brought up Brandon Ayuk. I don't think he's going to play another down for San Francisco. And even if he does, and they are getting along, like you said, it's going to be a slow start to the year for him and a quick start to the year for Ricky Pearsall. So I love that one. I'll keep it at the wide receiver position. We're getting a lot of pushback, a lot of heat with the 2025 rookie wide receiver class. It's been sort of a group that's been popular to pile up on. We've been more bullish on this class, more so than others. This has been a class where we've sort of gone to bat for a few of these players. And I think that what we've seen recently is rookie wide receivers scoring well in fantasy, and it's happened for 5 straight years. 4 out of the last 5 years, you've seen at least one wide receiver finish top 6 in PPR scoring. Of course, last year we had 2 rookies finish inside the top 6 with Brian Thomas Jr. and Malik Nabers. We also had Ladd McConkey average over 15 points per game. This year, it's not going to be to that level, but we are going to see at least 2 wide receivers finish wide receiver 2 or better, similar to scoring that we saw from like the Garrett Wilson year a few years back in terms of rookie wide receiver scoring, not necessarily league winning, but you're going to have Matthew Golden being drafted at 12 overall by the Dallas Cowboys. This has been a player that I've been high on for months here at Player Profiler. Pre-NFL Combine, I was going to bat for Matthew Golden on the Sonic Truth Dynasty podcast, Matt. Then the guy goes and runs a 4.29. Looks like he's going to be a top 15 pick. It's going to be the Dallas Cowboys at 12. This is a perfect fit for him where he can fill a Jordan Addison-like role with CeeDee Lamb in the Justin Jefferson role. This is another team that has consolidated targets written all over him. Jake Ferguson is just a guy at tight end.
Ugh.
This is not the player that you want to be the number 2 target on your team. Matthew Golden sort of screams young Brandon Cooks, Jordan Addison, Alex Dunlap, our friend over at Roster Watch, Content King's co-host with Matt Kelly over here, has mentioned, he's whispered Odell Beckham Jr. He's whispered it. I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it. He's whispered it. The guy
couldn't put up 1,000 yards in 16 games last year, and he couldn't produce even at Houston in a partial season. I understand. This is a long shot take, which is why it's bold.
It's bold, but Matthew Golden, if we look at context over the second half of the year, when Texas decided to feature him prominently, when the going got tough, they got to the SEC championship game. Matthew Golden goes for 150 yards. College football playoff against Arizona State was unbelievable, and then knocked out of the game against Ohio State in the game that they were eliminated in the college football playoff. So Matthew Golden, a late bloomer this year at Houston. He played alongside Tank Dell, got on the field as a true freshman, quarterback issues year 2. Matt, we love seeing this sort of explosiveness, this former special teams ability. Matthew Golden, I will flag plant. And I will say Tet McMillan, the hatred has gotten too extreme. Tet McMillan is also going to finish as a top 20 scorer at the wide receiver position. McMillan, I've been high on for a while. We moved Omarion Hampton ahead of him in our single QB rankings at Player Profiler. But Tet McMillan's still a guy that I believe is going to be a top 15 dynasty wide receiver right away this year. I think he's going to land well in the NFL draft. Also finishes as a top 15 to 20 scorer. And multiple wide receivers are going to put up wide receiver 3 numbers out of this rookie class, including a few that you might talk about coming up.
Tet McMillan is as close to a can't-miss receiver as we've seen in years. So that is not the receiver to doubt. You want to doubt Golden because he didn't produce literally ever? That's understandable. You're not here. No one should be doubting Tet McMillan.
Don't do it.
I posted this take, bold prediction, and no one on social media liked it. I said the Bengals' offensive line and defense completely implodes. Burrow gets hurt. The Bengals finish last in the division. Everyone in that organization, up and down, the front office, the coaching staff is fired. And the T. Higgins, $30 million over 2 years, which is the effective contract, that contract is mocked. They just overspent on offense, on toys, and did not invest at the point of attack. And this is the anti-meat and potatoes roster construction, and you always pay the price when you do that in the NFL. And no one liked it. People don't want me going negative. They want me going positive, so I'll go positive, okay? You want to talk about multiple star receivers? How about multiple star rookie receivers? How about the 2 rookie receivers from Iowa State? Neither were monster producers, but they certainly outproduced Matthew Golden, even though they were sharing a field and competing with each other for targets. When you look at like the Breakout Finder app and you look at teammate score, that is a great indicator of, okay, Who is this guy competing for targets with? Other NFL players? Well, they can't be as dominant if you're at a big school, you're at a school where you just happen to find yourself across the field from another super talented receiver, and you look at Jaylen Noel, you look at Jayden Higgins at Iowa State. These are both second-round picks. One of them could leak into the third round, but I think the Patriots, attending these practices, looking at these workouts, talking to those Iowa State coaches, end up falling in love with both guys. The Patriots end up drafting both Noel and Higgins. They go Noel at pick 38, and they trade back into the late second round because they see Higgins falling, and they can't help themselves. And then it is Noel and Higgins who are starters in year one, and they help to carry this 2025 wide receiver class and Drake May.
Yeah, and Matt, both the guys were standouts at the Senior Bowl. You brought up Ricky Pearsall. He was a standout at the Senior Bowl. He steamed up into the first round. You've seen this for multiple seasons where the players who have very strong Senior Bowl performances, NFL teams value that. NFL teams also value elite combine performances, and the Iowa State wide receivers both backed up their Senior Bowl prowess with elite athleticism scores. Jaylen Noel went nuts. Jayden Higgins went nuts. You brought up the production at Iowa State. A great stat. This is the first time since 2018 we've seen two Big 12 teammates finish with 1,000 receiving yards each at the wide receiver position. The last pair of Big 12 teammates to do this feat and each have 1,000 was CeeDee Lamb and Hollywood Brown at Oklahoma. So it's a great indicator of future NFL success. Being able to produce next to another high-level NFL player has been something we've loved at Player Profiler. It's obviously a smaller scale, but you can look at it with Brian Thomas and Malik Nabers last year. Cream of the crop rises with these two. They get to New England, and Matt, this would be an ideal situation because the targets are right there for these two to finish 1-2 on the Patriots out the gate their rookie season. This would be a great landing spot for both of those guys. Let's talk about a backfield that people are chasing right now, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Liam Cohen bailout. I'm seeing dynasty managers investing in Travis Etienne. I'm seeing best ball managers investing in Travis Etienne. And on the flip side, I'm seeing dynasty managers and best ball managers investing in Tank Bigsby, saying that Bigsby is a better fit for Liam Cohen. There's sort of a back and forth here. We've talked about the power of the 2025 rookie running back class and the ability for a rookie to torpedo a backfield. You're going to see a trade on draft night. Round 1, Jacksonville trades down with the San Francisco 49ers to pick 11. San Francisco trades up, drafts Armand Membu at 5 overall. Jacksonville will recoup an additional second-round pick, and they will use that pick, number 43 overall, to select Quinshon Judkins out of Ohio State. Quinshon Judkins will be a player that dynasty managers will fall head over heels with. You could see a secondary deal with one of the other two Jacksonville Jaguar running backs being pushed out of town, a la DeAndre Swift 2 seasons ago when Jahmyr Gibbs was drafted to Detroit. Maybe a day 3 trade of one of those two Jacksonville running backs. Quinshon Judkins will be the unquestioned starting running back in Jacksonville on day 1. He will finish as the running back 2 right out the gate and be a player that has a ton of momentum heading into 2026 in an offense that features Brian Thomas Jr., a resurgent Trevor Lawrence, and a very good offensive coach in Liam Cohen. Quinshon Judkins, Ohio State Buckeye, becomes a Jacksonville Jaguar. But that's not all. Also, in the second round, we're going to see a Kaleb Johnson landing spot bailout. Johnson has fallen down to running back 5 overall in my personal rookie running back rankings. It's not a huge knock on Johnson. It's just more reflective about how high we are on the top 4 running backs. But Kaleb Johnson will land with the Chicago Bears at pick 41 as an ideal David Montgomery clone for the Ben Johnson offense. The difference being, instead of having Jahmyr Gibbs in the Jahmyr Gibbs role, you're going to have DeAndre Swift in the Jahmyr Gibbs role. Kaleb Johnson will thrive in this offense. He will score 11 rushing touchdowns as a rookie. Kaleb Johnson attached to Caleb Williams in the Ben Johnson offense in Chicago. 2 rookie running backs, both go in that top 43 in the beginning of the second round. Both of those guys are going to make dynasty impacts right out the gate. Quinshon Judkins and Kaleb Johnson. I almost called him Caleb Williams there, Matt. Too many Calebs.
Caleb, Williams, Johnson.
That's it.
I love what's going on in Chicago. Looks like Caleb Johnson is going to be what we wanted Roschon Johnson to be. Oh, a lot of Johnsons. There's just so many Johnsons coming at me, man. It's crazy.
Where's Alan Soslowski?
And you can find your personal rookie rankings in the Player Profiler Rookie Guide. The link is in the description. I believe that Caleb Williams will rebound with the Bears as well. It's just going to be this big, massive rebounding offense, right? And the Bears will make the playoffs, and DJ Moore and Rome Odunze will be top 24 fantasy receivers. So it's going to be Odunze and Ricky Pearsall that are doubling down on this 2024 wide receiver class, and we'll look up at the end of 2025 at that class and be like, oh, wow, this is one of the best wide receiver classes of all time. And the Odunze and Pearsall second-year breakouts will be a big part of that. I believe Daniel Jones will start more games this year than Anthony Richardson, because Anthony Richardson will experience some injury. He's going to break a finger, scrambling and trying to throw. He doesn't have as much pocket awareness as it requires to be a full-time NFL starter. He doesn't have the ability to go through his read progressions the way a traditional NFL starter will. So he has all these flaws that lead to inefficiency, stalled drives, but also injuries. So there's multiple ways that Anthony Richardson can miss games this year. And so I believe Daniel Jones will start 10 or more games. And with Daniel Jones under center, at least for the first half last year, Wan'Dale Robinson had multiple double-digit target games. Ended up finishing with 140 targets. Josh Downs is a much better version of Wan'Dale Robinson. So Josh Downs with predominantly Daniel Jones under center will command over 150 targets this year.
I love it. We've been on Josh Downs now for multiple seasons, Matt, and this would be a perfect fit for him. Josh Downs also had some strong games with Anthony Richardson last year. I think Josh Downs has multiple pathways next year. I also, in an earlier bold take, had Indianapolis getting Colston Loveland. You start looking at Downs being surrounded by all these tall receivers there with athleticism. Alec Pierce still on the roster. Adonai Mitchell on the roster. Michael Pittman on the roster. So you have 3 very tall receivers with an elite athlete, 6'5" tight end in Colston Loveland. And Josh Downs, the smallest of the bunch, will just eat up targets. Daniel Jones, for better or for worse, has been a low ADOT merchant. Josh Downs can thrive in that role, but he also has big play explosive ability. Go trade for some Josh Downs in Dynasty. He's very, very well priced. My final bold take of the day, back to the NFL draft. Giving you 4 NFL draft predictions here. I brought up Quinshon Judkins, and Quinshon Judkins to Jacksonville would be a reason to get excited. Certainly Caleb Johnson, truthers out there, would love him being attached to Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson in Chicago, but that's not the hottest take. The hottest take is, and we've been saying this here on Bold Takes for months now, about how this running back class is going to produce multiple first-round picks, but this running back class is going to produce 3 first-round picks. You're going to see Ashton Genty go off the board in the top 10, Omarion Hampton go off the board somewhere before pick 22, and you're going to see Travion Henderson to the Washington Commanders at pick number 29. You brought up Breece Hall earlier. When we're talking about Washington, they just made the trade to get Deebo Samuel. Last year, Washington lacked any players who could produce with produce with the ball in their hands. This was a very efficient offense that all of a sudden would become scary with Travion Henderson. They went out and got Laramie Tunsil, the offensive tackle from Houston, filling a huge need. They went out and got Deebo Samuel to fill in their wide receiver 2 role. filling a huge need. They signed Javon Kinlaw at defensive tackle, filling another big need. Now they're going to go out and get a player that will make Jayden Daniels even more dangerous. Travion Henderson is arguably the best receiving back in this entire draft class, and he's one of the most explosive in this entire draft class with the ball in his hands. We saw the long touchdown against Notre Dame and then in the national championship game. We saw the long catch and score right before the half against Texas in the semifinal. Travion Henderson led the Big Ten in yards per carry, had like 7.2 yards per game this year in the Big Ten. This is a player that will thrive next to Jayden Daniels. You also saw, Matt, last year, running back upgrades next to mobile quarterbacks. Derrick Henry next to Lamar Jackson, Saquon Barkley next to Jalen Hurts. These mobile quarterbacks can help produce incredible rushing success. Travion gives you the receiving prowess to go with the big playability as a runner. He's Jahmyr Gibbs light in this offense.
Oh, we also have now Najee Harris next to Justin Herbert. Big upgrade, right?
Big enough.
What if we know Washington wants a running back? Okay. What if we could send a running back to Washington that's even better in the passing game than even Travion Henderson? What if instead, my bold prediction also is all about the Washington backfield because it's such a glaring, obvious need area, and it's super relevant for fantasy football because I coined the term once upon a time, the Alfred Morris corollary in Washington. When it was RG3 under center, Alfred Morris was getting 5 yards per carry because there was one less defender paying attention to whoever was running the ball out of the backfield. Everyone was spying on RG3, and that just opened up running lanes for Alfred Morris. And whoever is the starting running back in Washington this year is going to enjoy that same principle as, Jayden Daniels just sucks the oxygen out of the room and the attention away from the defense. So it's perfect. And there's no way we know that with this entire draft class ready to be plucked and Washington having now so few needs that they've addressed so much in previous drafts and now in free agency, it's just the running back room is just so desperate to be upgraded that, Brian Robinson is one of these cells in all of fantasy, right? All formats. Like this is one of those areas we just know Washington is going to be upgrading the running back position, but I don't think they do it through the draft. Oh no, because the Jets are going to draft Ashton Genty. The Jets are going to shock the world and draft Ashton Genty. And you mentioned this DeAndre Swift getting traded from Detroit after they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs. Something similar will happen, but to Breece Hall. Breece Hall will be redundant in New York. They'll want to trade him outside the conference. They will naturally find a trade partner in Washington. Breece Hall goes to the Commanders. And what we've seen from Breece Hall is number 1 in route participation, number 3 in running back target share last year. I mean, he's had years already where he's had 76 catches in 2023. Each and every season, 15-plus fantasy points per game. Oh, running the ball? No, he can run the ball. He had 2 years ago, he had 223 carries and 4.5 yards per carry. The year before that, 5.8 yards per carry. So he can run between the tackles. He can run outside the tackles. He is a full-blown bell cow. He is a box-stuffing, all-purpose back, and the Jets just don't appreciate it. This is the type of franchise that just doesn't know what it has and wants to overpay for the next shiny thing, what they think is going to be the next Saquon Barkley and Ashton Genty, and they're going to lose and sell low on a guy like Breece Hall. And Washington, their front office, has been just banking value and making sound decision after sound decision, building around Jayden Daniels. They continue to do that. The Washington Commanders trade for Breece Hall, and Breece Hall finishes the season as the number 1 running back in all of fantasy football. Podfather to you, I deeply appreciate you tuning in. And many ask, what can I do? What can I do to help support the hosts, the research they do, the production costs? Go to playerprofiler.com, Dynasty Deluxe, World Famous Draft Kit, Rankings, DFS Dominator, and of course, data analysis. Subscribe to any one of those, and you support all of us and take Player Profiler to the moon.